Love of the beloved, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Love of the beloved, sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyid al-Mursaleen. Amma ba'd, a'udhu billahi min shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulallah.
Salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulullah.
Wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah.
Wa ala alika wa ashabika ya
As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Nabi Allah.
Salatu wassalamu alayka ya Nabi Allah.
Wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nur Allah.
Wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nur Allah.
But in this special series of programs, we talk about Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as an ideal role model. Not just for yesterday, 1400 years ago, but today, tomorrow, until the end of time, inshaAllah azza wa jal. Before we begin and give you the actual topic that we're going to discuss today, we're going to give you a blessing of reciting Durud al-Pak upon the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is reported to have said that whoever recites salat upon me 1,000 times a day, he will not die until he has seen his place in paradise. Allahu Akbar. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Viewers of the channel, we've said it many, many times before, but please make a habit of reciting Durud al-Pak upon the Prophet of Allah sallallahu ta'ala wasallam. And here we are told that if a person recites Durud al-Pak 1,000 times, he will not die until he's seen his abode in paradise. Which means if you have an abode in paradise, you have a place in paradise, then insha'Allah azza wa jal, you will reach paradise, insha'Allah. Viewers of the channel, in today's special program of our role model, we've got another unique topic, and alhamdulillah we have Brother Tawfiq with us here as well, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Tawfiq? Are you okay?
Alhamdulillah.
Mashallah. Mashallah. Tawfiq, by the topic today, again, it's a little bit unique. I can't remember myself actually discussing this topic on Madani Channel. So I'm hoping that we've got plenty of Madani pearls with you, but it's the role of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as an authority. His role model as an authority. And again, you know, is it bordering on leadership or is it bordering on it? But the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as an authority, inshallah, as we're going to discuss that today, and hoping that from his role model as an authority, we can gain some Madani pearls, implement it in our life, and make a change in our life so we can have a better today and a better tomorrow. The feedback with regards to the topic again, the more I think about it, it's such a vast topic, and I'm thinking to myself, where do you start? And when I say you, where do you start?
Subhanallah.
Because I'm hoping that you've come prepared today. I'm relying on you.
Subhanallah, I've got something very beautiful, very emotional topic that I want to touch at the beginning. And the reason I want to describe and discuss this topic at the beginning is sometimes what happens when we delve into a topic and the actual thing that you want to share, there's no time for it.
You'll run out of time.
And I think today, this narration that I'm going to share with you today, which is from Sahih Bukhari Sharif, is quite in depth. Normally we share a Hadith Pak which is 3-4 lines long, but this is quite in depth. In this, it actually shows you the greatness and the high rank that our beloved Prophet ﷺ has over the rest of the creation, and in particular his authority. You know, in Arabic the word is used, mukhtar. Yeah, now what is his authority? And just brief before I start narrating this particular Hadith Pak, or before I mention the Hadith Pak, you know, generally if you look at someone in any organization or any hierarchy from the ground level, if someone's got a responsibility, he will have some form of authority of his level. Then the higher you go, his authority level increases. There's other, you know, you can say the fobs and the locks that they have, the passcodes that they get, that other people don't have. And the higher a person gets into the organization or in a company, he has more authority to make the decisions. Yeah? And similarly, if you look at the world around us, yeah, and especially from our Islamic perspective, the most noble individuals and personalities that Allah Ta'ala has created are the prophets. The Anbiya Kiram alayhi salatu wasalam. So from Allah Ta'ala, they have been given special authorities over many other people, and they have special powers that other people don't have. Similarly, the Sahaba Kiram, they have been given certain authorities that other people don't have. And then it goes down in the hierarchy in the Islamic field, and the great Imams and the scholars of the time, even in this day and age, that sometimes You know, when you want to start a Jummah Salah in a particular area, who will give you the authority? You will need to find the biggest mufti of the whole region and get permission from him. So there's a whole process of authorities.
I've always seen it as Tawfiq, but it's like a box. You have a responsibility within Dawah Islami, I have a responsibility within Dawah Islami, and we've all got our box. Within that box, we can make decisions. As soon as something goes out of that box, we have to go to the higher authority.
Yes.
And we all have these boxes. Everybody has a box. And what sits within your box, and the problem, and even from a Tanzimi point of view, the problem occurs when you make a decision that's not in your box. And I think I always see that authority is your box, and everybody has that box that they have to live in.
Well, subhanAllah, when we talk about the best of the creation,
Allah.
our Master sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, his authority, first the question is, who gives him the authority? It's from Allah. Allah ta'ala has made, Allah Azza wa Jalla has made him the best of the creation. And as far as his authorities are concerned, he's been given the most authorities that no one else has been given. And no one will be given in future as well. And the example, one of the beautiful examples of this is this particular narration that I'm going to share with you today. It is mentioned in Sahih Bukhari Sharif that in fact it is, our beloved Aqa Madani Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam is reported to have said that on the day of judgment, people will gather and they will go in the court of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. And this is, the background to this is when people will, due to the heat, intense heat of the day of judgment and the troubles, and the difficulties of the day of judgment will be in front of everyone, and people will get to a stage that they cannot bear the hardship and they will want the accountability to start. Yeah? So in that panic, in that situation, people will gather and they will think, okay, because Adam alayhi salatu wasalam is the father of all, he's the first human. Yeah, let's go in his court and ask him to intercede for us. So he can ask Allah Ta'ala so that this accountability can start and we know whoever needs to go, wherever they need to go, let that happen. Yeah, so in that, in that tone or in that panic situation, people will turn towards Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam and will say, oh, the father of humanity, oh Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, please intercede for us, do shafa'at for us in the court of your Rabb. And Allahu Akbar, Prophet Adam alayhi salatu wasalam will say, I am not for this.
Allahu Akbar.
Even Adam alayhi salatu wasalam will be in a situation that, because of the mighty and the power of Allah Ta'ala, every single individual will be concerned and worried, and because we don't know what's going to happen now. Anything can happen. Yeah, even a small error that has happened in the lifetime, people will be concerned that what if I am caught up with this? And Adam alayhi salatu wasalam will say that I am not for this. However, I can give you a direction. Yeah, and Adam alayhi salatu wasalam will turn the public towards Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Because Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam is Khalilullah, a very close friend of Allah Ta'ala. And then everyone will turn towards Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. And again, the public will say in the court of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, oh Khalilullah, you are very close to Allah Ta'ala, please intercede for us in the court of your Rabb. However, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam will give the similar answer. I'm sorry, but I'm not for this. Please go somewhere else. And Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam will direct everyone towards Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. And then everyone will turn towards Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and say the same thing. Oh Kalimullah, please intercede for us. Ask your Rabb to have mercy upon us. But Musa alayhi salatu wasalam will have a similar reply. I am not for this. Please go to someone else. Yeah? And he will direct them towards Sayyiduna Isa ala nabiyyina wa alayhi salatu wasalam, who is also Ruhullah, who is also Kalimatullah. He is one of the signs of Allah Ta'ala. And when everyone will gather in the court of Sayyiduna Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, again they will proclaim and say, oh Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, please intercede for us in the court of your Rabb. And Isa alayhi salatu wasalam will have a similar reply, I am not for this. And this is beyond me. In other way, if you look at the answer, it means I don't have the authority. This is beyond me. I can't do much here. However, each prophet gave a direction, which is another important factor that if sometimes in life, when you can't give the answer, you don't have a solution, at least give a direction to someone where there could be a solution. But subhanAllah, Isa ﷺ directed the nation, the whole community, the public, will turn the public towards the best of the creation, our master, the last and final messenger of Allah, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. And everyone will come in the court of Aqa alayhi salatu wasalam. Subhanallah, as soon as the people will arrive in the court of our beloved Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, and our beloved Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam will say, yes, I am for this.
Allah, Allah.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. Look at the words of satisfaction. For the whole nation, whole communities, whole mankind. Our Aqa alayhi salatu wasalam will say, I am here for making intercession. I will make shafa'at. Then Prophet sallallahu ta'ala says that I will seek permission from my Rabb. I will ask ijazah, permission from my Rabb, and Allah ta'ala will grant me the permission. And on this occasion, Allah ta'ala will put certain praises, hamd, in my heart that no one ever has used those words of hamd, of praise of Allah ta'ala before. Allah. There are certain words that Allah ta'ala will put into my heart. When I will praise my Rabb, when I will do hamd of my Rabb at that time, then at the same time I will fall into the sajda. I will prostrate in the court of Allah ta'ala, and then subhanallah, then a voice will be heard and someone will be saying, Ya Muhammad, irfa' ra'sak. O Muhammad, raise your head. Say, and you will be listened to. Ask, and you will be granted. Make intercession, do shafa'at, it will be accepted. Now you're talking about authority. Look at the authority in this first message that we see. That ask, you will be given. And then our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam will say in the court of our Rabb, in the court of Allah ta'ala, Ya Rabb, ummati, ummati. Oh my Rabb, my nation, my nation. And then a voice will be heard, go and take every person of your ummah out of hell who has faith even equal to a grain of barley. And the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala says, I will go and take them out from the fire of hell. When Prophet sallallahu ta'ala will return, he sallallahu alayhi wa says, then I will return and praise my Rabb again out of those hamd, those praises that I will be taught. And then again, I will fall into the sajda before my Rabb. And it will be said, O Muhammad, raise your head, say, and you will be listened to, and you will be granted. Ask, you will be granted. Make intercession, it will be accepted. Then our beloved Prophet sallallahu ta'ala will say the same words, Ya Rabb, ummati, ummati, my nation, my nation. Then a voice will be heard saying, go and take every person of your ummah out who has faith even equal to a grain of a mustard seed. In the first time it was the faith, the iman equal to the grain of barley. And if you look at the grains, the grain of barley is slightly bigger compared to the grain of mustard seed. Then Prophet sallallahu ta'ala will go and will return, will take people out from there and will return in the court of Allah ta'ala. I will praise Allah ta'ala with those same words of hamd that he will be taught at that time. And then again he will fall into the sajda for the third time. Our Rabb, Allah ta'ala will say, O Muhammad, raise your head. Say, and you will be listened to. Ask, you will be granted. Make shafa'at, it will be accepted. And our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, for the third time, he will say, Ya Rabb, ummati, ummati, my nation, my ummah. Allah ta'ala will say, go and take the one out of the fire who has faith even less than the grain of the mustard seed as well. And the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala says that, so I will go and do the same. Subhanallah, Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. Khalid bhai, our topic today is the authority of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. Not at one occasion, but 3 occasions, Allah ta'ala has given this great authority that no one else will have. You know, the first authority is even on that occasion when no one will dare to raise their voice. But our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam is the one, the only one who will ask in the court of Allah ta'ala. This is his level of authority. Allah. Number 2, then when he will be granted, he will say such words of praise of Allah ta'ala that no one else has ever said, no one ever will ever say. Those words of hamd, the praise of Allah ta'ala are left for him on the day of judgment. And then 3 times he will be given the news, go, take anyone out. You know, this is called the ultimate authority. The power that Allah ta'ala has bestowed upon the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. And look at this. You know, on one side, our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam is blessed with such authority. Mukhtar kul. You know, ultimate authority. On the other side, look what does our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam use the authority for. He will use this authority for me and you, for us. And this is something that we need to realize. This shows that, you know, how much our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam loves us. And you know, Khalid bhai, when I was reading this narration, ulama have written that our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam will actually go and visit hell. Hell is not a place to visit. It's a horrible place. But for us, our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam will even go to that place as well, to get us out from that place, to put us into a place of security. Allah. And this shows his immense love for his ummah. And dear brothers and viewers of Madani Channel, we need to realize and reflect upon this narration. On one side, we see the great love that our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam has for us. On the other side, look at our actions, our way of life, our thinking. How much love do we have? Remember, the way we act, the way we live our life, our lifestyle reflects upon how much love we have for Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. The food we eat, the clothes we have, you know, the way we think, all these things matter. Yeah, we need to reflect upon this and make a change in our life. Our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam has been blessed with such authority that no one else is in maqam mahmood. This authority, this greatness is left for the court of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam.
Allah. Viewers of Madani Channel, you're watching our role model, and the topic that we have today is the authority of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. And Tawfiq Bhai has told us about the ultimate authority that he has, that on that day where people will be running around seeking one good deed, people will be running from prophet to prophet, from Anbiya to Anbiya, in the hope that they can save them. There will only be one person that will be able to intercede for us on that day. There will only be one person that will do dua for us on that day. There will only be one person that will pull us out of the hellfire on that day. And that is the Prophet of Allah sallallahu ta'ala wasallam. But as Tawfiq Bhai rightly said, that is the authority that Allah Azza wa Jalla has bestowed upon him. But where do we stand in this? That we have such a great blessing being in the ummah of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu ta'ala wasallam, that we are so fortunate that Allah Azza wa Jalla has blessed us. And many times when we talk about this and similar things, we don't realize how lucky we are, how fortunate we are that Allah Azza wa Jalla has blessed us with this. Because it is a blessing. If Allah Azza wa Jalla blessed us, then if Allah Azza wa Jalla willed, He could have decided that we don't even be a human being. We could have been anything. We could have been in any background. We could have been a non-believer. We could be a belief of something else. But we are blessed to be amongst the ummah of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I think it's something that we take for granted, something that we do not value, something that we do not realize how fortunate we are, and something that unfortunately I would say that we abuse as well. We abuse the fact that we have got this and we think that we've got it easy, we've got it made, but you haven't. And so I think we need to think about ourselves that if this is the status of the one that loves us so much, you know, more than our mother loves us, that on that day when your mother will not be of help to you, your father will not be of help to you, nobody will help you, the Prophet of Allah ﷺ is there to help you, then what are we doing to show our love? Is it enough to put up a few lights? Is it enough to go on a jalous? Okay, it's a start, but it's not enough. You know, to love is to follow. To love is to blindly follow. To love is to not ask questions, how, what, where, why, when. To love is to love. And I think we need to, when you hear about these examples of the authority of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu this is what he's going to do for us. On that day, the Prophet of Allah sallallahu there was another hadith. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu said that all of the Anbiya, all of the prophets were given one dua, that they were told that in this, if you make whatever dua you make, it will be accepted. And all of the Anbiya, all of the messages made it in this dunya. And the Prophet of Allah sallallahu said, I saved that dua.
For the akhirah.
I've saved that dua. I've saved it for the day of judgment. And what is that dua? My ummati, my ummat, my ummat. That dua that he could have used here, and he could have anything. He could have all the wealth of the world. He could have had mountains of gold. He could have had whatever he wanted. But he saved it for us. And we need to think, we need to reflect, and we need to act before it's too late. But when you are listening to these Madani pearls that Tawfiq Bhai is giving to you, I want you to reflect and think to yourself that in this system, in this ummah of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what is my standing? What is my role? That this is the greatest role model that I have, but what is my role? What should I be doing to be part of this great ummah? We're talking about, in this program, our role model. We're talking about the authority of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm really glad that Tawfiq Bhai started off, because he said to me that, you know, sometimes our discussion goes here and there and you forget to talk about the main point. And I think the authority of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the Day of Judgment is the most important authority and greatest blessing that we can have, that on that day, people like us who have lived a life of sin, people like us who have got no good deeds to present on that day, we are told that even those people that have, you know, a mustard seed or a less than a mustard seed of Iman, then inshaAllah, even on that day, the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will remember us. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will come and find us.
In that narration, we also understand the importance of Iman as well.
What I'm saying is that on that day, that he will, even though we'll be such sinful people that we'll have so little Iman, that even with that minute amount of Iman of deeds that we can't even, you know, mention, that even then the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will remember us. The question is are we remembering the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Are we paying? You know, basically, you know, with that one hadith that you mentioned, if you were to live all of your life in ibadat, live all your life following the Sunnah of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fasted every single day, did, you know, tahajjud every single night, you know, went on Hajj every year, you performed Umrah as many times as you can, you would not be able to repay that. And so the question is what are we doing to try and even please our Rabb, please the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for such a great favor that we have been told that he will bestow upon us, as the ummah of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that have got nothing to show, nothing to present on that day, and yet even then.
The reality is, no matter how big you are, we totally depend on that mercy.
We do.
And that is so important to us, that moment when our Aqa alayhi salatu will intercede. And you know, we want to be part of that intercession.
I think it's something that very important that you just said there as well, Tawfiq, but that we need to understand that, you know, no matter how big you think you are, no matter how great you think you are, no matter what you think you've done in this dunya as far as ibadat and pleasing Allah Azza wa Jal, the first question you always need to ask yourself is that all them good deeds that you have done, have they been accepted? Yeah. You do not know if they've been accepted. So you should never think to yourself, I've done enough. Yeah? You should never think to yourself that I you know, astaghfirullah, nobody should have this mindset that I don't need that day. You need, every single one of us needs it. It is only through the mercy of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jalla, that will attain paradise. Not through our good deeds. Yes, we should continue to perform good deeds. Good deeds in the hope that Allah Azza wa Jalla saves us, through the mercy of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that we attain paradise. But there is no guarantees. And so we need to continually struggle and strive.
Khalba, when we talk about the authority of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, then, you know, on one side we have many ahadith that describe its great, you know, the level of authority. On the other side, when we look towards the Quran, the original source for the Muslim, the primary source for a Muslim for knowledge and guidance, and we ask the Quran, oh Quran, tell us, what level of authority does our Prophet ﷺ has. And the Quran in many forms, many verses, it comes back and tells us. One of the place is Spara 28, Surah Hashr, verse number 7. Allah Ta'ala says in the glorious Quran, and accept whatever the noble Rasul gives you and refrain from whatever he forbids you.
Allah.
Look at that principle. Whatever
Allah.
the Prophet ﷺ gives you, take it. And whatever Prophet ﷺ stops you from, forbids you, don't do
Leave
that.
it. Simple.
Look at that authority. Yeah, there's no other conditions here. Yeah, and that's the instruction that Muslims have been given even today. How do we know what Prophet ﷺ has given us and what he has forbidden for us? It's in the Quran, it's in the Hadith, it's in the principles of Islam. The knowledge is in front of us. Yeah, in another place, sometimes you think, okay, this is the religious matters. What about your personal matters? As a human being, as family affairs, what about them? How much authority does the Prophet ﷺ have according to your personal matters? Again, the Quran Pak gives us the guidance in Surah Ahzab, verse number 36, which is in part Spara 22, the translation of Kanzul Iman. And no Muslim man or woman has any right in the affair when Allah and His noble Rasul ﷺ have decreed a command regarding it. So, for a man or woman, if you have no right over something when Allah Ta'ala has made something compulsory for you, if the Prophet ﷺ has made something farz upon you, that matters. Yeah, not just what you between husband, wife, or mother or sister. As individuals, what you think is better, you think it should be this way, not that doesn't matter. Yeah, when it comes deen, like they say, our priority should be deen.
Yes.
Yeah, that is the key thing for us. And in this verse, we also learn that if you look at the authority, Allah Ta'ala has mentioned His own name, but with that He has also mentioned the name of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So this is the level of authority that Allah Ta'ala has bestowed and given to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And this is a message for us that look, our beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has such high status in the court of Allah Ta'ala that when it comes to the deen, when it comes to our affairs of life, whatever it is, the hukum of Allah and Rasul will count. Yeah, that's what we need to keep in mind. So if you want to open a business, or you're going out with friends, whatever you're doing in any corner of your life, any walk of your life, we need to make sure, are these things according to the guiding principles of the Prophet ﷺ? If, for argument's sake, they're not, then you cannot carry on with them. You have to stop, you have to make the turns, you have to go towards the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ, because if you don't, then there's going to be, you're causing harm for yourself.
I think it's very important, and we use this term Shari scanning, that whatever you do in your life, whatever business you've got, whatever job you've got, if you scan it, get a Shari scan of it, so to speak, then inshallah your mind will be easy. And I think what happens, a lot of us, they have this, we don't want to get it Shari scanned, because inside us, deep down, we know that this is wrong. Yeah? And so we make excuses that we don't get it scanned by the ulama ikram. We don't ask the Darul Iftar, that is this okay, is that okay? And I think it's very important that we make sure that we Shari scan our activities in our lives, our businesses, whatever we're doing, to make sure that whatever we are doing is according to Sharia, because without that, like Tawfiq Bhai said, if it's not, there is no benefit for you. You might see the benefit, but long term it's just going to be a damage to you. Using the channel, we're going to take another small break at the moment. Now we've got the kalam of the day, inshallah, and when we come back, we're going to continue talking about the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the greatest authority that has ever lived. Let's go to the kalam of the day. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
नसीब चमके हैं फर्शियों के कि अर्श के चांद आ रहे हैं। नसीब चमके हैं फर्शियों के कि अर्श के चांद आ रहे हैं। झलक से जिनकी फलक है रोशन, वो शम्स तशरीफ ला रहे हैं। ये किस शहंशाह वाला की आमद आमद है, बोलो मरहबा, बोलो मरहबा। ये कौन से शह वाला की आमद आमद है, बोलो मरहबा, बोलो मरहबा। ये आज काहे की शादी है, अर्श عرش کیوں جھوما، یہ آج کاہے کی شادی ہے، عرش کیوں جھوما، لب زمین کو لب آسمان نے کیوں چوما، یہ کس شہنشاہ والا کی آمد آمد ہے، بولو مرحبا بولو مرحبا، یہ کون سے شہ والا کی آمد آمد ہے، بولو مرحبا بولو مرحبا، آقا کی آمد مرحبا، حضور کی آمد مرحبا، مکی کی آمد مرحبا، مدنی کی آمد مرحبا، عربی کی آمد مرحبا، کرشی کی آمد مرحبا، طاہر کی آمد مرحبا، انہیں خدا نے کیا اپنے ملک کا مالک، انہیں خدا نے کیا اپنے ملک کا مالک، انہی کے قبضے میں رب کے خزانے آئے ہیں، انہی کے قبضے میں رب کے خزانے آئے ہیں، جو چاہیں گے جسے چاہیں گے یہ اسے دیں گے، جو چاہیں گے جسے چاہیں گے یہ اسے دیں گے، کریم ہے یہ خزانے لوٹانے آئے ہیں، یہ کس شہنشاہ والا کی آمد آمد ہے، بولو مرحبا بولو مرحبا، یہ کون سے شہ والا کی آمد آمد ہے، بولو مرحبا بولو مرحبا، جو گر رہے تھے انہیں نائبوں نے تھام لیا، جو گر رہے تھے انہیں نائبوں نے تھام لیا، جو گر چکے ہیں یہ ان کو اٹھانے آئے ہیں، جو گر چکے ہیں یہ ان کو اٹھانے آئے ہیں، یہی تو سوتے ہوں کو جگانے آئے ہیں، یہی تو سوتے ہوں کو جگانے آئے ہیں، یہی تو روتے ہوں کو ہنسانے آئے ہیں، یہ کس شہنشاہ والا کی آمد آمد ہے، بولو مرحبا بولو مرحبا، یہ کون سے شہ والا کی آمد آمد ہے، بولو مرحبا بولو مرحبا، سرکار کی آمد مرحبا، حضور کی آمد مرحبا، سردار کی آمد مرحبا، پر نور کی آمد مرحبا، مختار کی آمد مرحبا، یہ آج تارے زمین کی طرف ہے کیوں مائل، یہ آج تارے زمین کی طرف ہے کیوں مائل، یہ آسمان سے پیغام ہے نور کیوں نازل، یہ آج کیا ہے زمانے نے رنگ بدلا ہے، یہ آج کیا ہے زمانے نے رنگ بدلا ہے، یہ آج کیا ہے کہ عالم کا ڈھنگ بدلا ہے، یہ کس شہنشاہ والا کی آمد آمد ہے، بولو مرحبا بولو مرحبا، یہ کون سے شہ والا کی آمد آمد ہے، بولو مرحبا بولو مرحبا، نصیب تیرا چمک اٹھا دیکھ تو نوری، نصیب تیرا چمک اٹھا دیکھ تو نوری، عرب کے چاند لاحد کے سرہانے آئے ہیں، سنو گے لانا زبان کریم سے نوری، سنو گے لانا زبان کریم سے نوری، یہ فیض وجود کے دریا بہانے آئے ہیں، یہ किस शहंशाह वाला की आमद आमद है, बोलो मरहबा, बोलो मरहबा। ये कौन से शह वाला की आमद आमद है, बोलो मरहबा, बोलो मरहबा, बोलो मरहबा, बोलो मरहबा।
Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. MashaAllah, beautiful kalam there. MashaAllah, again, one of those type of kalams that you want to, you feel like, driving and listening to with the window open and listening and praising the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, remembering this great time. Viewers of the channel, you're watching this special series of programs, Our Role Model. And in this special series of programs, we're talking about the different roles that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam perfectly performed and give us guidance. Many people you see nowadays, they are a role model in a certain field, in a certain aspect of their life. But here we've only got 11 programs, and in 11 programs we'll come up with 11 different roles, but we could continue this probably throughout the whole year and look at every aspect of the life of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and realize that in every aspect of his life, he was the ideal role model. Not just for 1400 years ago, not just for today, but from now until the day of judgment. And in today's program, we're talking about his role model as the authority that he had, the authority of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Tawfiq Bhai only mentioned that we all have a limited authority, but it's how we deal with that authority. And then he gave the beautiful example of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the day of judgment, how he will intercede for us. And then we talked a little bit about how we should value ourselves as being fortunate amongst the ummah of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ji Tawfiq Bhai.
Khalid Bhai, if you look at the Shari'i principles, the Islamic rulings, you'll find there are many actions which are farz, summa wajib, sunnah. Especially the farz. Farz is something that we have to do. There's no other way out. There's no compromise. Yeah, but subhanAllah, when we look at the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his authority, on certain occasions he has used his authority to ease individuals, ease people, to make life more flexible for them. I'll give you one example, that when the hukum of the Hajj came, our Prophet ﷺ made everyone aware, O people of all, O people, Allah Azza wa Jalla has made a Hajj farz upon you. Therefore perform Hajj. So when this hukum came, there was a Sahabi, he asked in the court of the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, is Hajj farz every year?
Allah.
Prophet ﷺ didn't reply. And he asked again, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is Hajj farz every year? So do we have to come here every single year? Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't reply. The third time he asked again, Ya Rasulullah, is Hajj farz every year? And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't reply. However, due to the answer in that sense, but Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam then said that, look, if I had said yes, then performing Hajj every year would have become farz upon you.
Yes.
Yeah. And this sentence here,
That shows that he had the authority.
he had the authority.
But not only shows the authority, it's what we mentioned yesterday, that had that vision.
Subhanallah.
The authority and the vision.
To make it easy.
The authority to be able to
Yeah.
make it further upon us. But also the vision to be able to realize that it would be so difficult for us. Whereas at that time, it would probably have been easy. That the people of Makkah Sharif, for them to perform the Hajj every year would have been okay. But the authority that he had to say yes or no, that he's saying that I have that authority, and also the fact that he had the vision that it would be impossible.
There's another example that, what's opposite of farz? Haram. Yeah. So there's a scenario, a Sahabi, he made a mistake. He broke his fast of Ramadan due to the particular thing. And what happened? Now, as a ruling for that, the simple rule is that to make up, or the punishment of breaking the fast in that particular way, is that he has to fast for 60 days consecutively.
Allahu Akbar.
Yeah. So, for example, if someone started fasting and then he's halfway through, then something happened, he missed a day,
You could just do
he
it
has
all
to
again.
start all again. And the second time he tried, and he got up to 50 days, and he missed a day now, he has to start all again. So you can see it's actually a severe punishment in a way. Now look, it shows you that you don't break your fast. You have to look after your fast, yeah? And so this Sahabi, he came with that scenario, and Prophet ﷺ said to him at first, that, do you have the strength to fast for 60 days consecutively? And he said, Ya Rasulullah, I won't be able to do it. And then Prophet ﷺ said to him, can you feed 60 poor people, masakeen? Yeah, can you feed them? And he says, I don't have the wealth enough. I don't have the financial means to do this as well. And the Prophet ﷺ, said to him that they got hold of the basket of dates and gave it to him, and go give this to the poorest people out there. Give this in sadaqah. And he said the poorest person that I know is me myself.
Allah
and my household.
Akbar.
And Prophet ﷺ said to him that take all these dates, you eat it and give your whole family, and your expiation, your kafara will be done. So if you look at it in a way, in the form of punishment, instead of giving punishment, he's getting rewards.
But again, the thing there is the authority.
The authority
that the Prophet of Allah ﷺ had
Subhanallah.
to be able to do that. People could have said, this isn't Sharia, this is not right. But no, the authority that they had, that whenever the Prophet of Allah ﷺ did anything, nobody questioned it. And the examples that Tawfiq Bhai has given, mashallah, and I think we've got many examples that we can give, and I think time is against us, so I'm going to quickly go over to the Tawfiq Bhai and listen to some of the examples that we've got, and then inshallah we'll try and sum up this topic. Ji Tawfiq Bhai.
Khalid Bhai, we're talking about the authority of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam in Sharia, in the principles of Islam, and many examples are front of us which explain that it's not just having the authority, but Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam has used the authority to make life easy for people. And for certain individuals, for example, Salah is farz 5 times a day. So in the whole day and night, we pray 5 Salah, don't we? Yeah, but at one occasion, when a person came in the court of Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, I want to become a Muslim, but I don't want to pray 5 times. I want to pray 2 times a day. And subhanallah, our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam granted him the permission. That, okay, look, I accept you in Islam, and you can go and pray 2 times a day, and your 3 prayers are forgiven for you.
Allahu Akbar.
And this is a huge form of authority. Yeah, even today, someone who accepts Islam, we can't go and say these words to someone. This was just for that individual. Yeah, for us today, if someone in front of us becomes a Muslim, we understand it's not easy at the beginning, but we can't say to that person, that look, you're a Muslim today now, but it's going to take you to learn how to read namaz. It might take you 3 months, 6 months. So until then, just pray once a day, or just come on a Jummah day. That's it. We cannot say this. Yeah, we have to make him aware from day one that as a Muslim, we have to pray 5 times a day. And how they pray, there's a certain procedure, there's a whole process. In a nutshell, for a new Muslim, they should try to pray with Jama'at. If they read behind an Imam, and as long as you could teach them to say Takbir, Allahu Akbar, it becomes a lot easier for them.
Yes.
But the key thing is, we can't say to anyone, don't do this first. Make halal haram, or make haram the halal. We can't do this. But look at this, Prophet ﷺ has actually done that, used the authority by doing this. Another example, when Prophet ﷺ made everyone aware that it is haram to cut the trees and grass from the haram, the blessed haram sharif. And on that occasion, for his own uncle Sayyidina Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, due to the needs of the Sahaba, Prophet ﷺ had made it easy for them and allowed them. So Prophet ﷺ used this power of authority to allow them to cut this particular grass called idkhir. They were told that you can cut this grass. Isha Salah is preferred to be late. And you can see that from the narrations as well, that Prophet ﷺ says that if I didn't look at the old people, their weaknesses and the ill patients, if I didn't look at their difficulty, if that was in front of me, I would have made Isha late for you, or even the last third for you, or at least after midnight. Well, I didn't do that. Yeah.
But I think, Tawfiq Bhai, as I'm listening to mashallah these Madani pearls that you're giving, one thing comes to my mind that, there may be people that are watching this program and thinking, okay, that's fine, that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had that authority, but how is that relevant to me today? how can I learn from that today? And from what I've can, mashallah, listen at the moment, we've realized that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam he had his authority, and he could have been strict in that authority and said, no, you have to use the miswak. No, you have to do this. No, you have to read your namaz. No, you have to do that. And he could have exercised his authority like that. Yeah. But what he did do, which is a lesson for all of us, he looked at the people in front of him and he used his authority where he could to make it easier for them. And I think that's something that we need to learn as well, that we all have authority in whatever position we have, but we need to look at our team, so to speak. Yes. We need to look at them people that we have the authority over and make it easy for them. Don't make it hard for them, wherever possible.
There's a beautiful saying of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, yassiru wa la tu'assiru. Don't make it easy, don't make it hard for people.
And so the life of the Prophet of Allah, and all of them examples that you give, the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made it easier for them specific individuals. And that is something that we really need to learn from our households, be in our house, make it easy for them. Maybe you're saying that, I want my food at 6 o'clock. It's got to be bang on 6 o'clock. But you know that it's going to be difficult for them. So make it easy for them and say, whatever makes it easy for you, as long as the task is fulfilled, or whatever it is. And in every aspect of life, you can say, okay, let's make it a bit easier for each other. And be considerate for people as well. And that was the consideration that the Prophet of Allah had.
Today, when we have a choice to choose a selective meal, for the family to cook, or if it's to go somewhere, we don't look at the other side of the things. For example, you're going to visit someone, and you're looking at your ease. You might be easy 8 o'clock at night, but when you travel, it's 1 hour journey, it's 9 o'clock there. You're not looking at their side, especially if you're going to meet elderly people. Maybe around that time they go to bed. Yeah, and whenever we have the choice to make, we should always consider other people as well, especially whoever's going to be involved in that. Yeah, whatever you're deciding, this is like a general formula to anything that you decide in your life. It could be, for example, in the cars that you're going to buy for the family. You might buy a new car, but the fuel, it's got a massive engine. It's just going to drink the fuel.
Or it might be a 2-door car, and you're not considering the passengers on the back. You're not considering anybody.
It could be anything, and I think it's a beautiful lesson that we could take away from today's program. That in our life, whatever role that you have today, you have a certain role, but this role won't stay with you all the time. Yeah, tomorrow you can have a higher role, or you may have a lower role. We don't know. Life is full of lessons. Yeah, we've seen these examples in our era as well. As sometimes there could be someone, a prince, one day, the next day, he's in a cottage. Yeah, the life changes rapidly sometimes. Someone could be a billionaire, the next day he could be in debt. Yeah, and he could be in billions of debts. Yeah, so life can change any time, but the key thing is wherever you have a chance to make a selection, then always look for making it easy for other people.
I think that's the message that we hear from today, viewers of Madani Channel, that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had this ultimate authority, and we saw the beautiful example on the Day of Judgment where the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will inshallah intercede for us. And what we learn from that is that he alone has been given that authority, and on that day he will search for those people that even have iman less than a mustard seed in their hearts, and he will pull out the sinners from the hellfire and put them into the paradise. And again, on that we need to reflect how fortunate we are that Allah Azza wa Jalla has blessed us to be amongst the ummah of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But in the other example, the beautiful example that Tawfiq Bhai gave, where the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam exercised his authority to make it easier for the Muslims, that's something that we need to reflect on, that in any of our positions, whatever authority we have, whatever position we have, whatever status we have, then where can we make it easier for people? Make it easier for our families, make it easier for our household, make it easier for our work colleagues to achieve the task. Yeah, to achieve the task. In the example that he gave, that the Isha has been read, but the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if I wanted to make it, I would make it later for you. But he realized it would have been harder for the ummah. So what's happened? The task has been achieved. The Isha has been prayed, but he's made it easier for the ummah. In the same way that we need to look at our lives, we need to look at the decisions that we make on a day-to-day basis, and not just think about ourselves as the way.
Sorry, I know the time's short now, but just one important thing that came to my mind was that, look, we have a choice of how we want to use our time. So if you look at it, we have the authority how we're going to utilize our own time, and then we should reflect that, how am I using this time? You know, am I using the time in the way of Allah Ta'ala to earn good rewards and ibadat? Or am I using the same time that I have, am I choosing to do those things that will earn the anger of Allah?
Allahu Akbar. You have the authority over that time. Viewers of Madani Channel, you've been watching our role model, and today we've been talking about the authority of the Prophet of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And I'm hoping and I pray that we can all learn and continue to learn from the life of the greatest messenger, the Prophet of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and make a change in our life. Make a change in our life and realize that the Prophet of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is our ideal model. And if we can learn from his life, make a change, then inshallah we can have a better today and a better tomorrow. Keep watching Madani Channel. Sallu ala al-Habib Sallallahu Ta'ala ala Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Love of the beloved Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Love of the beloved Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.